bum 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 bum. Rangers Assemble!
What's up, champions? Welcome to the side scheme. I am BananaCrapshoot. Today's podcast, or Carcast, is, as I'm driving, is going to be my quick reactions or hot takes to the Nebula cards we saw from the announcement article today. So Nebula looks like will be the first hero pack released after the Mad Titans Shadow box that was announced. So I'm going to try to go through these pretty quick. Just go through the cards and give my quick thoughts. So Nebula Alter Ego, hand size 6, 9 hit points, 3 recovery, outlaw traded, ability cybernetic upgrades, response after you play it, technique upgrade, draw 2 cards, limit once per round. So Nebula, the villain scenario in Galaxy's the Most Wanted, plays off these techniques if you haven't played Galaxy's Most Wanted. So it looks like the hero design is inspired, and just from this it looks like it's very much inspired by the villain scenario. So we'll have to read through the rest of the cards to see how much, but it's pretty cool that the hero version of a villain we already have has some similarities. I don't know, it feels like there's some continuity there, I guess. Alright, so the hero side, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 2 defense. Historically, the characters with the 2/2/2 stat line have been pretty good. So I think Nebula will end up being like okay at worst. I don't see her being bad just based on that stat line. Guardian trait, then the ability is called Combat Protocol. It's a force response. After your turn begins, resolve the special ability on each technique upgrade you control, then discard each technique upgrade. Resolve this way. So this is a force response, so you have to resolve the special. There's no option. So the strength of Nebula is going to be based on these technique upgrades, I'm guessing. So depending how strong they are will really help push her up the tier list, I guess. So let's get right into the techniques. First one's called Evasive Maneuvering, 1 cost upgrade. Energy resource. While in hero form, Nebula ignores guard, patrol, and crisis icons, and the special ability is chosen to either stun or confuse an enemy. So, also historically, characters that have access to status cards such as stun or confuse are very strong and very consistent. So this right here makes me think that Nebula is going to be pretty strong. The fact that it is going to be forced to get discarded after you play it is kind of feels bad. So I'm wondering if there's going to be a way to recur this, or if there's like multiple copies of this, because I'm thinking you're going to want to have 8 to 10 techniques so that you can reliably have one or two in play every round, because you're going to be forced to discard them. So they got to have strong special abilities. We know based off this card they're going to have somewhat good status effects. So yeah, the technique's got to be good, and she's got to have access to them to really make her go. So the next one's also 1 cost upgrade, Unyielding Persistence, generates a mental resource. While in hero form, Nebula gets +1 thwart, +1 attack, and gains stalwart, and the special is give Nebula a tough status card. So this one makes her a 3/3 with stalwart, which is the one where you can't be stunned or confused, and then she gets a tough status card. So this one's pretty strong, as long as you yourself are not stunned or confused, so that you can make use of this 3 thwart 3 attack. And I'm hoping she has a way to ready herself. Well, I guess the CITT, the basic support that you can use to ready a Guardian character. So I guess she will have a way to Guardian. I mean, I think it costs 3 total resources, or 4, the card itself. So that's like 4 total resources to ready a character, which is pretty expensive. So hopefully she has a way to ready to really make use of like the 3/3 that she'll have. But Stalwart's nice, but I mean it's only going to last for a turn because it's going to get discarded again. The next one's called Wide Stance, generates an energy resource, 1 cost. While Nebula is in hero form, Reduce the amount of damage she takes from each attack by 1. And the special says, look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck, discard 1, and put the others back in any order. There's also like a Ravager dude in the artwork for this card, so that's pretty cool. So while she's in hero form, she takes 1 less from each attack. So that's kind of cool. It's some damage prevention from each attack. So if there's damage that doesn't come from an attack, like overkill, then that will not reduce the damage. It has to be from an attack, and overkill is not attack damage. It's not considered attack damage, I'm pretty sure. This one I'm not as excited about. I do like the special on this one. It gives you some control of your encounter deck, which is nice. But the static effect on this one I'm not as crazy about, I guess. It seems alright. Alright, so the next card we have is an event. 0 cost. It's called Combat Ready. Generates a physical resource. It's a skill. Alter ego action. Choose 1. Shuffle up to 2 technique upgrades from your discard pile to your deck. Or you can discard cards from the top of your deck until you discard a technique upgrade. Put that into play, then resolve its special. Okay, so this one's kind of cool. The fact that it's an alter ego action, I'm not crazy about. It'd be nice to be able to do this in hero form. So you're going to have to flip down. But it's nice we have a way to recur techniques, or a way to find them and resolve the special without discarding it like we would at the beginning of the round. So this card, I'm guessing, is going to be pretty important to making her flow. But you're going to be forced to flip down to do it, so you're going to hopefully be in a position where you're not going to scheme out. The next card we have is called Lethal Intent. It generates a mental resource. It is an event X cost. Hero action. Choose up to X techniques you control. Resolve each of their special abilities in the order of your choice. So this card is varied in cost based on the amount of techniques you want to resolve your specials on. So here's a way that we can resolve specials without being forced to at the beginning of the round. And you only have to do the ones you want. So this is pretty cool if they're strong. So the ones we've seen so far are look at the encounter deck, give a tough, and stun or confuse an enemy. So I mean, to gain a tough, control the encounter deck, and stun or confuse an enemy, that seems pretty strong. So I think there's some good value there. I wish we could see a couple more techniques, or if there's a way in hero form to get techniques. But so far, these cards seem alright. None of them are bad. I wish Combat Ready I could do as a hero action. But Lethal Intent's pretty cool. Has some good artwork on it. Alright, so next up we have a Justice Ally, Eros, or Eros. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that correctly. He's a Guardian traded, 2 cost, 2 health, 2 thwart, 1 attack each for 1 consequential damage. Generates a mental resource. I don't know if I said that or not. He has a response after you play Eros from your hand. Confuse a minion for each mental resource you use to pay for him. So if you use Genius to pay for this dude, he comes into play and boom, confuses 2 minions. It's only minions, so he's like kind of like a Justice Spider Girl, kind of. But the 2 thwart for 2 costs is pretty cool. So you're going to get 2 thwart and a block out of him. Good value there. Next up we have Venom. It's a 4 cost Justice Ally. Flash Thompson Venom. Agent Venom. He is 4 cost, 4 health, generates an energy resource, 2 thwart, 3 attack, each for 2 consequential damage. So the 2 consequential damage is pretty rough, but he has an ability, while there is no threat on the main scheme, reduce all consequential damage Venom takes by 1. So it makes them a 1 each, so 3 attack or 2 thwart at 4 health for 4 cost. It's pretty strong if you can manage the threat. So I think in solo this will be more manageable because the threat values don't go as high. in multiplayer, the threat values can get kind of crazy when stuff's going up by 3 or 4 per player at a time. So we'll have to see how that works. But in the right deck, in the right scenario, this seems pretty strong. Next up, we have a 1-cost Justice upgrade called Justice Served. It's an upgrade, generates a mental resource, play under any player's control, max 1 per player. Hero response: after you thwart and remove the last threat from a scheme, discard Justice Served, ready your hero. This card's pretty cool in Justice. Lets you ready your hero after you finish off. So if you're playing like Skilled Investigator and like Clear the Area and other stuff that triggers off removing the last threat from schemes, then you have a way to ready your hero. I think this will see play. There's some cool artwork in here. There's a Cosmic Ghost Rider. Pretty sure that is in the artwork. Yeah. And another guy I'm going to let you figure out for yourself, but you should know who he is. Next up, we have 2-cost event. Generates a physical resource, Brains over Brawn. Some MCU-inspired Spider-Man art. And it's an attack hero response. Attack after your hero makes a basic thwart. Deal damage to an enemy equal to your hero's thwart. So for 2 cost, you're going to deal 2-3 damage. So you're paying 2 for 3, so you can just play Haymaker. Like, why? Right, so the most you're going to do is 3. I guess you could get to 4 with Heroic Intuition. But most of the time, this is going to be Haymaker, basically. So this is probably the card I'm least excited about that I've seen so far, because it just doesn't make sense. I missed Gamora here. Gamora is Nebula's signature ally, 3 costs, 2 thwart, 2 attack, both for 1 consequential damage, 3 health, wild resource, guardian traded, response after you play Gamora. Choose a technique upgrade you control, then resolve its special. So another way to trigger our specials. One technique. So there's definitely going to be ways to trigger them outside of the force response beginning of the turn. I just hope we have more ways to recur them. Another card we see is a basic card. It's a team-up card between Gamora and Nebula called Daughters of Thanos. Generates a wild resource. Limit 1 per deck, or max 1 per deck. Hero action, draw 3 cards. So this is basically a +1, because this card and another card to pay for it, and you're going to draw 3. So this nets you +1. It's fine. This is a totally fine team-up card that I think we'll see play. And then the last card we see is Nebula's Nemesis minion, which is also Gamora. So 2 scheme, 2 attack, 6 health, elite outlaw traits, 3 boost icons, force interrupt. When this minion would enter play, discard the Gamora ally for play. We saw that with the Nebula Nemesis and the Nebula ally in the Gamora hero kit. And then there's also a force response for the attack, that after Gamora attacks and damages you, choose and discard an upgrade you control. So those are all the cards we saw. There's nothing really extra we can see from the card fan. But overall, I think Nebula looks pretty cool. I think it's really cool that they took her villain scenario design and took that and implemented it into her hero design. And I think we need to see, hopefully she has some more techniques. But as long as the techniques are solid and she has a way to recur them from her discard consistently, I think Nebula with her 2/2 stat line and triggering the abilities on the techniques will make her a pretty strong, fun hero to play. So overall, I'm looking forward to adding her to my collection, like the collector, because I have to collect all the heroes. Let me know what you think. What do you think about Nebula? Tell me why I'm off base. But that's going to do it for this side scheme Carcast. I'm BananaCrapshoot. Stay scheming champions.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.